Hi everyone, Dreki here, and today we're unboxing the Rexso Explorer Dual. This is a Novatek based camera, similar specs to the Firefly 7S, and even a similar design to the Firefly 7S. I believe it's based on the Novatek NT96660 and an unknown image sensor, which from my brief test appears to be different than the Firefly. Thank you to GearBest for sending me this camera for testing. Their link is in the description if you want to check it out. So let's get this thing open and let's take a look at the camera itself. Just on top here, a little bit of foam, and there's the camera. As you can see right away, it has a screen on the front just like the Firefly 7S. I said they'd be pretty similar, right? Underneath that is all of the accessories in a separate little box. I'm not going to go through every accessory included in this kit here because it will take too long, so let's just say that this is a standard action cam accessory kit. What is not included is a remote, nor is there a second battery, only one battery is included. Taking a look at the waterproof case, it is identical to the 7S in terms of the latch design, the button placement, even the little foam inserts that hold the camera in place. Design-wise, this camera is also identical to the Firefly 7S. It has the second screen on the front and is wrapped in the same textured rubberized plastic. The camera itself has the two buttons on the side which are located near the top, again, same thing as the Firefly 7S. This unboxing was turning into such a deja vu that I actually put the two cameras side by side to see the differences. The only difference was in terms of the branding and the color. The LE comes in this wonderful red color that I don't think the Firefly is offered in. I like colored electronics like this because they stand out from the pack compared to the generic and bland colors that most things come with. The other thing that I discovered was different was the quality of the screen. The screen on the Elecam was much easier to see in light and also more color accurate versus the screen on the Firefly, which was quite blue. For all their external similarities, the two cameras are quite different in terms of how they process video, and we'll get onto that in a little bit. Let's take a look at the Rexso first off here. These are just a couple sample shots that I shot around the neighborhood over the last couple days. It's mostly been pouring rain, so I haven't had too much of a chance to test the camera in good lighting, but as you can see here, the color balance is actually pretty accurate. Details are decent too, especially at close ranges, which makes me suspect that my camera is slightly out of focus. I'll be testing that theory later before I do the full review, just to see if that was the case, or if it's a case of the way that the camera compresses video down to 1080p. Overall, what I see here though is pretty solid, especially considering that many Novatek cameras have difficulty in terms of color balance and process things way too blue. The Rexso does not seem to do that. It holds color a lot warmer and more pleasant to me. Let's put it next to the Firefly 7S and you can see what I mean in terms of too blue. Just so you know, I'm not cherry picking examples here. I'm not choosing ones that are specifically emphasizing my point. This is in almost every shot that I took. The Firefly 7S is consistently more blue and consistently more gray. It's kind of funny actually. I mentioned earlier that I think the Rexso uses a different image sensor, and I figure that because the Rexso has a very different way of processing details and it looks a little bit softer than the Firefly 7S or the SooCoo C30. Where I notice it in particular is in 1080p video. It just feels a little bit softer. It might be just because the camera is not as refined in terms of its firmware, and that can cause this sort of effect too. So far, just from these gray lighting and gray day tests, it looks like the Rexso has a lot of potential in terms of being an inexpensive NT96660 camera. My recommendation, as always, is to step up to something like the Firefly 8S or the Thai T5e because those two cameras do have significantly more resolution, significantly better color processing, and I'll put them all side by side in the full length review. But it does look like the Rexso has the possibility to top the SooCoo C30 and the Firefly 7S, which would be quite good. I've been looking for a camera that can do that. Where I did notice it was still lacking is in terms of the audio quality. Audio is quite muffled compared to some of the higher end cameras. The other thing that I noticed is lacking a little bit is the stabilization. The stabilization is better than the SooCoo C30 from my brief testing, but not as good as some cameras like the Firefly 8S. Again, that's something you get more when you spend more money. For $60 US, the Rexso has stabilization, true 1080p 60 and 2.5K 30, and so there are less compromises compared to other cameras in its price range. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know below.